Hi boys and girls. We're gonna get started with our reading for the day, and we are going to continue on with our theme that we had started when we were back in the classroom. So if you remember, we read The Mermaid and we read Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So we read Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and then we read The Mermaid, and we learned that the mermaid was a different version of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So Goldilocks and Three Bears was a fairy tale, and then the mermaid is what we call a fractured fairy tale. So it had the same storyline, but different characters in a different setting. So today, what we're going to start reading is very similar. We are going to read a folk tale. Okay, so my poster here tells us that a folk tale is a story that is passed down from one generation to the next generation. And a long, long time ago, it started by word of mouth, and the story teaches a lesson. So when it says it's passed down from one generation to the next generation, a generation is like people that are your age. So your parents and I are a generation, but all of you boys and girls, you're about the same age. You're a different generation. So you're the younger generation. And then your grandparents, which are your parents, so my parents and your mom and dad's parents, those are our older generation. So that's what it means. So it might be like my grandpa told me a story, and then I told Hunter the story, and someday long down the road when Hunter has children, he would tell his children the story. So that's what a folk tale is. It's passed down. And like it said, it's word of mouth, so it's someone telling the story, not necessarily reading it. I know I'm going to read to you today, but a long time ago they didn't have books. They weren't able to write books and print them and have them in stores, so a lot of stories were told just by word of mouth. And then they learn a lesson. So we talked about that with the mermaid and Goldilocks, that they learned that they should not go into a stranger's house. So that was a lesson that those characters learned. So we're going to see what the characters in our story today learn. So there are different kinds of folk tales. So we have fairy tales, which we talked about. We have legends, myths, tall tales, and parables. So we're going to talk more about this later this week, but I just wanted to touch base on that. We'll hear more about it later this week. All right, so before we read our book, let me show you what it is. It's nice and shiny. This is called Little Red and the Very Hungry Lion. So if you know Little Red Riding Hood, yes, okay, so I believe that's going to be similar to this. Before we read this story, we're going to talk about our vocabulary words. So we always have 5 vocabulary words, and so we're continuing on with that. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the posters that we're going to talk about these words, okay? So we've got a little puppy here, and he is covered in paint. So our word is grimy, which means if you're grimy or if something is grimy, it means it's extremely dirty. So we could describe this puppy as grimy. Okay, and these pictures are uploaded, so if you want to pull them up and look at them, you can, or if your parents want to print them, they can, but you are able to go back and look at these. All right, our next word is leap. Okay, to leap means to spring into the air. So in this picture here, you can see whales leaping out of the water. So the word is leap. Oh, look how cute. All the girls are going, oh. All right, right, so this vocabulary word is purr, which means to make a soft, low, rumbling sound. And I saw that a lot of you have cats. I saw them on our Zoom meeting. So you probably have heard a cat purr before. All right, our next word is creep. So if you look at this cat, you can see this cat is hunched down, and it looks like it's probably taking like so slow, quiet, maybe tiptoe steps. Okay, so to creep means to move while not trying to be seen or heard. It means you're moving slowly. So you're trying to creep by, you're trying to be quiet, and you don't want to be heard or seen. And then the last word is naughty. So look at this puppy here. This puppy has decided to snack on, looks like, the bathroom door. So naughty means that you were badly behaved or you were not obeying. Okay, naughty. Okay, so we're going to do more with the vocabulary words later this week. So that was just an introduction. And like I said, they are on class tag, so you can pull them up and look at them if you want to see these pictures and definitions, or if your family wants to print them out, you can print them out. You are going to listen to this story today. It's Monday, but then I'm also going to ask you to come back and listen to this story again later in the week, okay? So you'll hear this a couple times, which is what we normally do at school. So let's get started. Little Red and the Very Hungry Lion, and this is by Alex T. Smith. This is Little Red. Today she is going to be gobbled up by a lion. This is the lion. Well, that's what he thinks is going to happen anyway. So if you're familiar with the story of Little Red Riding Hood, she ends up getting gobbled up by a wolf, I believe. So anyway, this lion thinks he's going to gobble up Little Red. One hot morning, Auntie Rosie woke up covered in spots. There was only one thing for them: spot medicine. Ring, 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 ring. Oh dear, said Little Red when she heard the news. I'll come right away. So she put some spot medicine in her basket and waved goodbye to her daddy. So it looks like she's got to take her Auntie Rose some spot medicine. Trying to make this to where you guys can see the best. It was a long way to Auntie Rosie's house. Little Red walked under the giraffes and over the sleepy crocodiles and past the chattering monkeys. She crept around the termite mounds and under the leaping gazelles. Then she caught a ride on an elephant, wiggled her way around the hippos and warthogs, and waved hello to the meerkats. Then she sat down in the shade of a shady tree, and that's when the lion arrived, the very hungry lion. Look at his face. He looks like he is up to no good. I bet he is probably naughty. I'm thinking that would be a good word to describe him. at this point in the story. "Oh, hello," purred the lion. "Where are you going?" "To visit my auntie, who is covered in spots," said Little Red. In the time it took for his tummy to rumble, the very hungry lion had cooked up a very naughty plan. If you thought he was naughty, you were correct. My very clever plan. 1. Sneak off to Auntie Rosie's house. 2. Hide her in a cabinet. 3. Dress up as Auntie Rose. 4. Wait for a bit. 5. Jump up and eat Little Red. 6. Eat Auntie Rosie for dessert. Well done. You're a very clever lion. So that's his plan. He made a whole chart and wrote it out and everything. And the lion rushed off to put his plan into action. When he arrived, the very hungry lion stuffed Auntie Rosie in a cabinet and locked the door. Then he squeezed himself into one of her nightgowns and covered himself all in spots. Look at him. Doesn't he look funny? You think he looks like Auntie Rosie? Oh my. Would you be fooled? Would you be fooled by that? Of course, when Little Red arrived, she realized right away it wasn't Auntie Rosie sitting in the bed. She quickly looked around and spotted her auntie peeking through a gap in the cabinet. Then Little Red decided that she was going to teach the naughty lion a lesson. So good for Little Red. She's not fallen for the lion's tricks. "Oh, Auntie," cried Little Red, "what tangled hair you have!" And before the very hungry lion could even lick his lips, Little Red had brushed and combed and twisted and braided until the lion had a lovely new look. I don't think he's enjoying that. This had not been part of the lion's plan. So he opened his mouth wide. "Disgusting!" shouted Little Red. "What gigantic, grimy teeth you have, Auntie." So she's saying his teeth are grimy. That means they're very dirty. He must not brush. And Little Red made the very hungry lion brush, brush, brush his teeth until they sparkled. I don't think that was part of his plan either. "Oh, Auntie," sighed Little Red, "what an old nightgown you are wearing." And before the very hungry lion knew it, Little Red had found a much prettier dress for him to wear. This had not been part of the lion's plan either. Oh my goodness, look at him. He's just miserable. "Stop!" yelled the lion. "I am a very hungry lion, and my tummy is grumbling." Little Red pointed her finger. "Well, trying to eat children and aunties is very naughty. If you were hungry, all you had to do was ask for some food." The very hungry lion let Auntie Rosie out of the cabinet and said sorry ever so politely. Little Red gave Auntie Rosie the spot medicine, which worked immediately. Then the three of them gobbled up a whole basket of donuts together. The lion had 5. Soon it was beginning to get dark, so the lion walked all the way back home with Little Red on his very best behavior, and he promised to never, ever, ever try to eat another auntie or any children. But he might be tempted to eat Daddy. No, bad kitty. Oh, the end. All right, I hope you liked this folk tale, and I want you to think about the lesson that the very hungry lion learned. So he was being naughty, and he learned that if he was hungry, he should have just asked for some food instead of coming up with his plan to eat Auntie Rosie and Little Red. That wasn't a good idea. And you know what? Little Red and Auntie, they were very forgiving. They forgave him and shared donuts with him. So that was very kind of them. Okay, so this was all you had to do today for reading, was enjoy the story. Think about the lesson that the character learned. Maybe you think that a different character learned a different lesson, and we can talk about that later this week. Try to review the vocabulary words, and when you listen to this a second time, what I want you to do is what we do in class, is when you hear the vocabulary word, just quietly as you're listening, just put your finger on your nose when you hear that word in the story, okay? I can't wait to keep doing activities with this book this week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.